Hello, welcome to another episode of The Legend of You. Let's show you what we've been doing. There's quite a lot to go through, so I'll just go for it. So one of the things we've been doing is looking at all the tiles. We've got new ways of kind of making the dungeon look good. We've started with this default tile set that we're going to help change how this all works. So once we've got this tile set working, we can then just change it out and it'll work for different dungeons and so on. But it all works like quite nicely. Now when you run the game as well, it automatically kind of cloaks everything in darkness, that kind of dungeon feel, which is lovely. So got another example here of just what it looks like with a few more bits of lighting in as well, and kind of like you see the lights there, they punctuate the darkness and makes it look all kind of nice and dungeony. But again, still at the moment we're looking at ways to implement this tile set in different ways. This is currently the pizza dungeon for the pizza restaurant, which is another thing we've been doing. We've been investigating the pizza frisbee mechanics. So we've got the pizza frisbee, and then we wanted to see exactly what it was that we could do with it as a gadget, and see how we could make a dungeon out of that. So we've got all these levels here, all looking at different mechanics. It's quite a huge amount. So like starting at a very basic, let's have a look, something really simple like this. I'm not sure what to get from this, but like this, these things just light, and when they all light, you get that. Out you go. So we've got a whole lot of mechanics. Those are just the grills. We have some pressure switches. Let's try this one. What we got here? So standing on these makes these things fall. You have to find. There we go. It's that one. And it's random every time as well, so if I run it, then the switches are different. I know that I need to bring this over here, bring that out, and I'll open the door and get my thing. Out I go. So that's one of the mechanics we've been looking at, which I guess really isn't that pizza frisbee related, so that's kind of interchangeable, that one. Those are different pressure switch concepts. We also have the chub nose. This is more pizza related. This clown called Chub, he's the kind of Ronald McDonald type guy who runs the pizza restaurant, and so his stuff is all around, everything's branded in his respect, in his thing, his image. And we've got these obviously clown noses that you throw onto the clown faces that creates the switch. So this is just like an intro mechanic. Take that off again and that opens that door. Out you go. You can also achieve it using the pizza frisbee, which is lovely. What else we got? Some more chub nose stuff. Let's try this one. I have no idea what to expect. Okay, so yeah, this is about retrieving the chub nose. Missed. Doing that. Okay. Get my key, getting out of there. All good. So there's a huge amount of these, and we've essentially just been experimenting to see what it is that a Legend of You dungeon is, and we're still really kind of getting to grips with that. This has been probably the most useful phase in terms of experimenting with gameplay. We don't have all the answers yet, but I think we all kind of agree that the puzzle stuff is interesting, but it's going to be really difficult to extend that. We have to make, as you can see, we have to make so many levels, and none of these levels actually really get as complex as we want. So we're going to have to rethink how we do some of this, which we've got some ideas on already. So that's kind of nice. This is the pizza slot stuff that we've been looking at. So these are like kind of poles. When you put it through, it comes out the other side. That's a simple example. Let's see what else we've got. We've got, let's see, this was a good one. Like this. Nice. Up you go. So yeah, there's loads of them. Pizza slots are quite cool. We do some interesting stuff. There's this one. This one does this. Experimentation. So if I stick that on there. Okay. Then if I. Okay, it needs to be over here. So I think we're going to largely keep this concept of having these challenges, but I think we're going to adapt how we want the gadgets to work with that. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Let's just that's the wrong thing. Let's have a quick look at these things. These are for the overworld, really, and these are again placeholder graphics, but we're working on that at the moment. So this is the kind of the height change system that you'd expect to see in like an action RPG. It's all painted onto the background. It's all baked, so it's a bit of an illusion. I'm actually, as you can see the shadows here, because the shadows can't cast onto them. You kind of stop them from ruining the illusion by painting over the top. It switches to a different shadow there, but everything looks like it actually falls, but it doesn't. It's all a trick. And enemies too, they react to this stuff correctly, so they can navigate through here, which is pretty essential. He'll always come and get me. Okay, good, that's all good. Right then, so the map stuff, let's have a look at this. This is the map editor. And so for both Dungeons and Overworld, we're using this tool to make things that we then randomise. So there's different room types, different room shapes. Like if I added a room, you could add like a challenge, corridor, boss room, treasure room, start room, and so on. And if I added a corridor, it would ask me what kind of rooms I want. So that's how that's put together, and some of them are flipped and randomised. So the idea is that you have like a random start room, and you come in. We lay out, because it's really quick to make these, we're going to lay out, 100 different ones, say, and the game will pick them at random, and they all have different floors, so you go up and down. The blue things here are stairs. These are boss keys. These are challenge rooms which have puzzles in. This is where you get the boss key, and it all depends on how it's run. So when you run, this is this layout, and then this is the floor below. And when you randomise it, it chooses a different layout. Both floors kind of change, so that every time you get it, you're going to get a different thing. And unless we can just run the game now, and here we are. All the levels that you saw before are all been stitched together in a random order. So we have this dungeon's chosen like this. So we have to see what this dungeon has given us. Let's just see where we're going. Let's see what's at the end of this. This is a dead end, so let's go through here. So yeah, there's lots of stuff's been done on this, really. And it's all, you can play random dungeons now. It's all about filling in the templated rooms and filling in with the challenges and making the mechanics all tied into the different room types, so that when the rooms get chosen, they all work together. And that's the big challenge for the dungeons, is making sure they feel cohesive when they're put together, because we have to design rooms individually, which is one of the problems we're having with the puzzles at the moment. Things feel too separated. Okay, so when I come out, I can run again, and it will choose a different one. Run again and choose a different one. So every time you run, it's running a slightly different thing, which is all good. I'll show you a bit more of that in a minute. Let's go back and let's show the overworld. So This is how we'd structure an overworld. What we have here is your house. This is where you would start. Again, the same kind of thing. We have different templates and things, and we're going to build levels that fit into these templates. And that's where the randomization will happen. We'll have different rooms that have randomizations within. The idea is that you start here. This is the town. There's one town per overworld. These are what's known as linking rooms. This is kind of civilization. This is the wilderness, and then these things out here where the dungeons are. This is like crazy land, basically, where things go mental. So as an adventurer, you're starting in the heartland, and although this is going to be different layout for every map we do, the idea is that you adventure out into the world, and things get crazier as you go, and you feel like you're really on an adventure. The star at the top is the event area where the story is introduced, and also so it introduces the boss character, and also that's where you fight the boss character as well. So we're going to do lots of different layouts for this, and this is one that's been copied from Minish Cap, and this is how they structure their dungeons. They have 6 dungeons, so this one here, and this one here, and this one here also have dungeons in. But we're going to use these extra rooms for things like secrets and extra challenges and places to find, NPCs, to do things like collect pickups and crafting things, shields, abilities. So there's always a reason to explore, and that's all tied into the metagame. So the best way to show you that working is to, let's have a look at this. Go this way. Start a new game. This is all tied into the new game at the moment. So now this would be where the house is, which is where we were before. This is the house, and I'll just, as quickly as possible, get myself to the first dungeon, show that this all works. So these are overworld templates that are blank at the moment, and the idea is to fill these things in with stuff like you see in the town, but also, deserts, forests, swamps, lakes, things like that. Just the archetypes that you expect. This is the pizza restaurant dungeon. So as you can see, it's all ready to go. Stick this in here, and you go, and it chooses a random dungeon. So here we go. We've got one of the random dungeons here. You can go in and play the game. Come in, and we've got it's chosen one of these puzzles for us, which we can do for. Try that again. Good, okay. So this is all generated by a seed, and the seed is something that's set at the start of the game and generates the entire world. So all the choices that are made for the randomization, they're all made through this seed. And so none of it is really kept in memory, none of it's saved. So every time you go in and out of the dungeon, it has to use that same seed over and over again. So it's stored all that, go in, and it has to use the same seed and recreate the world from that seed. It's remembered where I was, and you go in and it's remembered that I opened that chest. So that all works, and even better than that is if I reset the game. It's all kind of, memory's all cleared now. If I continue, then it remembers this, so that we've got the save game working, so you can start the game, come back in the middle of a dungeon or in the middle of your world, and it remembers where everything is, and it's all generated from the seed. So that system's really ready to go, really, which is great because it's a really important part of what we're trying to do. So there we go. Right then, next thing, let's have a look at this. We've got a new animator called Alex. Alex started about 10 days ago, and he's been doing some really great work. Really happy with how his stuff's fitting in. We've got a few things here, like these are the zombies. We did this as an animation test for Alex before he joined, and really happy with what he did. These are now in the game. Also, the picking up and throwing stuff, that's all Alex is. So he's been really successful at matching the existing animations we have. It just looks like it's been done by the same person, which is brilliant. So it's great. What's next? We've got some of the concept stuff we've been doing. So like the zombies are really the first part of that process, but we have a number of enemies lined up that what we want to do now is really concentrate on the overworld and start creating this rich place with rich bad guys and things to do, things to find, ways to level up, and get that gameplay in where you start at your house and you explore the world and you find these things and you know lifting up bushes, finding secret dungeons, falling into the dungeon, doing that dungeon, getting like a new move for it and coming out, and just seeing how that all works and what's fun about it and what we want to expand. But these are some of the concepts that we'll be doing. So this is what Alex, the animator, is going to be setting off doing. We're just going to start doing as many of these as we can, start populating the world, making it feel good, which is good. And then also some of the things we want to be doing is expanding the way that the attack system is working. So these are concepts of how we're going to be expanding a lot of what the player can do. So this is going to be tied to an experience tree where you gain experience and unlock different moves. So we have the dash attack down here on the right and the slash attack. These are things you can unlock. We'll have different varieties of things, so maybe you'll be able to assign these to different slots. So like you have a move and you can assign, you know, holding the button does a move and you assign what move you want to there. So you have different powered ones that you can customise the way that you want to play. And then the more elemental stuff, these are going to be things that you attach to your sword and change the way that you play. So when you go into a dungeon, you might find that the rules have changed and fire does more damage. So if you assign a fire weapon, a fire gem or something to your sword, then you can do fire damage, you're going to do more damage. But they may be firing fire stuff at you, so you might need to equip a fire shield as well. It's all about changing the rules of the game, so people are always having to adapt and also pick up things around the environment that help them do this stuff. These concepts on the left are like concepts for how you might do different elemental super attacks. Again, things that we want to investigate as we get the overworld a bit more developed. And on that front is some more concepts of new areas. We're doing a lot more of this stuff at the moment. This is our focus, so this is the first one we've done. Here we've got the bushes. The thing in the middle here is the tier, the thing to the underneath the house. This is how we're going to do the height changes. Got the water down here on the right and like a random dungeon that we'll put around the holes, the top right, where you can drop down. So yeah, that's in progress at the moment. That's what we're working on. Another thing we probably mentioned before, we've got this character editor where we can let me just bring up the archer. It's always a good one. So the archer here, for example, when we do player characters, the concept is to have the bodies broadly generic and the heads detailed, so that when we do all the animations, we do it just for the body, and then when we come to colorize them, we can change different aspects of them. So this is more like this is going to be blue archer. So change skin color, kind of really white, and this is how we're going to be changing the player character. You can get quite a lot of variation with a bit of playing around. So yeah, it's all good. And I think that's pretty much it for us. That's what we've been up to, and that's where we stand at the moment. We're just plodding on, really, doing the overworld stuff. We really want to get the game playing from start to finish, put the death and health system in so that it actually feels like a game, generate a new overworld every time you play so things change, and then get as close to actually playing that as possible. And then we're going to look into how the dungeons are going to change with our new system. That's it, we're done. So until next time, thanks for listening. Goodbye.